If an independent artist is considering joining TikTok, maybe they've downloaded the app, but they haven't built out their profile, or they're just sort of unsure if it's the right platform for them and their style of music. What do you think is a key question they should ask themselves? And I'll go around and let everyone answer this one.
Yeah, I think just starting out, the amazing thing about TikTok is that it's a platform to showcase your authentic self. So I think before even going to I'm an artist and I want to promote my music, it's how can I, be authentic to myself, my brand, and really just have fun. And to utilize this platform just like you would others. I think the amazing thing about TikTok is it's created its own creative visual meme sort of language that TikTok users, adapt and communicate with one another through all the trends. And artists have the ability to tap into that. I think what's also really interesting about TikTok coming on when you first make your account compared to other platforms where you don't have, any followers, and you're like, I have 0 followers and I follow 0 people. How do I get started? Once you open up TikTok, you're instantly hit and open with the For You page, and which is a curated feed of videos at full screen. So even before you actually create a user account, you'll see that For You page and fully be immersed in content. And that's the way that that content's served. It's not, we're not a platform that's tied to the follower graph. So theoretically, on day one, your first post, you have the ability to get your video on the For You page, and that's seeded through the entire global TikTok community. I think that's something very unique compared to other platforms. So going back to the question, for independent artists just starting out and maybe a little fearful of how to get in, really, it's just an exciting way to get your content, to get your videos, to get your brand and personality in front of a very large audience. And you don't need to have a massive follower count to do that. There's so many trends and artists and brands that have just popped up overnight because the content was good and it spoke for itself and it got fed to everybody's For You page. So that's what's really exciting about the platform, and I love working with independent artists who have that possibility.
Yeah, you're right. You really have the opportunity to jump right in there, as opposed to other platforms where it feels a little daunting with those numbers that we all tend to focus a lot on for the wrong and right reasons, I guess. Dila, I wanted to field that question to you as well as an independent artist.
I think what Brandon said is so accurate. What makes TikTok really different is I'm not just pushing me as an artist, I am pushing me as a brand and a person and a lifestyle. So people can see my humor, they can hear my music, they can see things I'm interested in, maybe get a little piece of outside of just music. And I think that, there's nothing to lose for an independent artist because you're just getting your music in front of more people. So it's it was a no-brainer for me. I've only been on the app for 2 months.
Yeah, that's all. And speaking of the 2-month period, to state the obvious, we've been self-isolating, and TikTok was already very popular and rising in popularity. But I think, obviously the state of the world and the need for entertainment and the need to entertain essentially virtually has really kicked it up. And Abby, I wanted to get your perspective as well. We can dive into a little bit more of what you do in a moment, but just in terms of that question artists should be asking themselves before before signing up.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that regardless of your genre, this is the app for you. We have seen the most micro of niches go big and have a stage. I'm talking ant farming as a hobby and competitive Irish dance. There's a stage for every type of everything on this platform. So you can dive in regardless. And both Brandon and Odila were saying, it's really just a question of how willing you are to show your personality and get out there and not just show us your music, but what did you have for breakfast today, and what's your nightly routine, and just the little stuff that makes you a person and an artist is what really works. We want to see you goofing off in the studio and the inspiration for your lyrics and all of the in between. This is the platform to put that.
Yeah, that's great. And actually, Abby, I want to stay with you because I think with Brandon and Adila, their titles might be a little more obvious, but I wanted to get into just if you want to tell us a little bit more about Collab as an agency, how they've helped independent artists, increase their exposure on the platform, and sort of what your role is in all of that.
Yeah, cool. So at Collab, we are the most watched independent digital content network. So really at our core, we just exist so creators on the internet across platform can like thrive and actually make a living off of what they do best. We do that through many ways, but lately we've really been focusing on the TikTok community. And so now we are actually the largest TikTok network of creators with over 300 talkers. And together, those 300 right now generate billions of views per month. It's just such a powerful place. So we're really excited to be expanding the TikTok world. But some of the things we do for these creators is anytime a brand comes to us wanting to do a campaign, you know, we recognize that creators are the backbone of literally anything done on that app. You know, they're the core of it. So we can make sure we pair them with the right brands, they're on the right strategy, and then, you know, they can really succeed and build more connections and collaborations. But the bread and butter of really how we help all of our creators is DRM, which is digital rights management, which pretty much just means if you have a piece of content that you put out there that happened to make it into a YouTube compilation, you should be getting paid for that because it's your content. So we help with that, and it really just helps you, you know, support yourself as a creator.
That's awesome. That was a great description. And DRM is one of those things that I feel like was, you know, new and prevalent, you know, 10, 15 years ago, but is such a term and an acronym that artists should familiarize themselves with. So thank you for that. And it's funny to be, you know, having this live session when we are in TikTok's sort of evolution. And Brandon, I had one for you, you know, coming from the partnership side of this, you know, as TikTok has evolved, you know, what do you believe was like any key moments that sort of drove artists and labels to really begin adapting the platform or adopting the platform, excuse me?
Yeah, I could speak from my time at a label before I came onto TikTok. I was at AWOL and Cobalt Music, and really I started paying attention when I was in my digital product manager role to TikTok. I think, and with a lot of other people, was Lil Nas X and Old Town Road and the frenzy and the bidding war that started with the labels. That was the key moment for me where I was like, okay, like how did this song that started with like memes and started with like Grand Theft Auto, you know, like UGC footage, paired it with this amazing, crazy hip hop country record that's never been like seen before, and it's just shooting up the charts. It's going viral on every other platform, and now he's, you know, at the Grammy Awards. I think that was a real moment for the industry to really rally around trying to figure out how to crack TikTok and to create stars. And I think another moment too was Lizzo and Truth Hurts. You know, that was not a priority for Atlantic Records until it started going on viral on TikTok, and then they were like, "Oh, we need to pour some gasoline on this." They added that, re-released that record, put it on her album, and now, you know, she's just out of here. So I think that was the real moment. But, you know, week by week, day by day, it's becoming more commonplace. And I think within every digital and product management meeting at labels and for independent artists, TikTok is becoming a part of the rollout strategy, which is really amazing to see. And going back to you know, the original question of just how much are you promoting your music like versus promoting yourself? I think TikTok is the platform to you know, showcase your personality. As Abby said, it's in those in between moments, you know, that's really exciting. The deep dives into your lyrics, seeing your skincare routine, seeing your cooking recipes, and just really showcasing your personality and having fun. So I love to try to demystify the platform as much as possible and try to make it as simple. And it's not, it's really hard to manufacture like the perfect meme that's going to go viral. So like when you put all of your energy and eggs into that one basket, you might find success, you might not. And if you don't, you might be pretty disappointed. And then you're like, oh, I never want to try TikTok again because it's not the platform. I didn't go viral. I'm not Lil Nas X. But I think the most important thing is like steady growth, steady content, finding new and engaging ways to connect with your fans that other artists aren't doing. And so the fan on the other end is just like, wow, like I just got to connect with my favorite artist, you know, because they did a live stream as they're doing their beauty routine, or they're showing me their favorite products on Amazon right now, and I'm at home and I just like want to buy stuff, and it's like that, those connections, which like make those impacting and lasting moments between a fan and an artist. And TikTok is definitely the home for that style of content and relationship between fan and artist.
Yeah, I mean, a couple great examples followed by some, really practical advice. Also, shout out to Lizzo, a TuneCore artist before she joined Atlantic, so we always celebrate her. Adila, you mentioned, and this is also great timing, I think, too, as you mentioned, you've only been on the platform for a couple months, but you've, brought your following over there. Let's talk a little bit more just as an artist, sort of what your first impressions of TikTok were and what it meant in terms of engaging fans and what it means to you now.
So I think the first misconception is I didn't bring my following over, which was really interesting.
Huh?
I almost feel like the audience on TikTok is so different than Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So that to me was kind of like a hidden bonus. When I first started, I was just like, I was like, there was a block, like, wait, I don't dance. I don't, like, how do I make these crazy transition videos? And, but I stuck with it and I just started doing simple stuff as far as like things that I could do. One mistake I made was I got on the app and I thought, well, I'll just post music video clips I've done. People were not interested in that. So I had to figure out a way like, well, how can I make this more interesting and native to TikTok? So, okay, I will rate my videos and my video looks. And people started enjoying that. And, and then I would do dances to my own song. So I kind of found my way like naturally of like, how can I inject my music into this in a simple way? And then I kind of built up to it where, now I can kind of do some cool effects.
Very cool. And I think we are all kind of talking about this, and I'll just sort of ask the question for everyone. Ideally, we can stay with you. Do you believe that there are one or two static elements in particular that make a successful TikTok video? Or do you feel, even in the short time you've been on, do you feel like that's still kind of evolving all the time and there's no need to sort of grasp to one or the other?
So like, I can ask Brandon and Abby this, like, I feel like the simplest TikTok videos sometimes do the best for me. Like when I do too much and it takes me like an hour to get a video together, it doesn't do as well as like something I threw together in a few minutes, which is insane.
Sure. Yeah. Abby, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so when we're talking about the For You page, like Adila was saying, like these are not your usual batch of followers. This is a whole separate new group of people who may have never seen you before. But we want to play with the algorithm, and maybe Brandon knows the secrets, but I like to pretend I do as well. And the biggest like golden check mark I found to be consistent with the algorithm is loops. Like comments, great. Like likes, okay, great. Like shares are cool, but when people stay with your piece of content and let it go through a few progressions and just watch it again and again, it really likes that. So it feeds you to more For You pages and you can watch how quickly that builds. A good example is just like, why do cooking videos work? We have to watch again for the recipe. And why are all these dancing videos so good? It's like I've watched Charlie D'Amelio's same video 40 times to learn the first 2 steps. Like it just matches what the algorithm wants to see. So I like to, there are so many things that work on the app and it's always a mystery, but making content with that in mind, like how can I make people engage and watch this again is always a really good place to start.
Yeah, those are all great things. I think with the looping, part of the things that I've seen be really successful is the storytelling within a post. So it's like the before, middle, and after, and that's what also increases your looping of it because it's just so enticing. And whether it's an ASMR video where you need to wait until the end to see like that toothpaste like come out of the bottle, or it is the recipe video, you want to see the baked brownies like taking out of the oven, getting something to hook people and to stay to the end versus just seeing your video like, this is not too cool and swiping up to see the next. Getting them to stick is really important. And to Adila, to your earlier point of native TikTok content versus like repurposing things for Instagram. One thing that's really important is like we are a full screen platform. So taking advantage of the full vertical post is very important. Just taking something from Instagram, especially like a square image that has the black bars, that will not do as well. And the TikTok community really wants to see like you leaned in and you using the native TikTok creative effects and features. So Adila, again, to your point, like, yes, there are the talkers that are like so crazy with their editing and content, and I'm watching it too. I'm like, how do they do that? It's amazing once you start talking to them, and they're saying all their tips and tricks of like how they actually do it. There's a true science to it, and it's amazing to watch. Even like the major studios, I just saw ICM just signed that visual graphics guy who went viral making like the Spider-Man post, and even like the CEO of Disney was like, whoa, like we need to bring this guy in. But like the most simple TikToks that just utilize, the text feature, or like I've seen some of your videos, your rate me videos, and that's like very in the style of a lot of the TikTok content you see, but it's having the text bar that says 1 out of 10, and people instantly know that like, okay, this is a rating video, and this video is native to TikTok. You can definitely see, especially when you see content on other platforms, you instantly look at it and you're like, oh, that this is a TikTok video. Even sometimes if like it's repurposed and you don't see the TikTok like watermark on it, you can tell by the text, by one of the creative effects, if it's the green screen, that this is a TikTok video. So if you're able to notice that quickly on Instagram or on Twitter, the active, engaged TikTok audience, they're able to see that instantly. So to definitely like lean into the platform, utilizing simple features and creative effects native to the TikTok platform, I think is really important.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think in a short time, the TikTok aesthetic has been, hugely recognizable among, users and not alike. And I want to stick with you, Brandon, for a second, because I thought Abby mentioned earlier that was interesting. The amount of success artists have seen in total niche genres, sort of putting to bed the idea that you have to be from one genre or the other to succeed on TikTok, which I think, is definitely a roadblock for a lot of artists, a lot of TuneCore artists who are from all different genres. But I wanted to, just sort of get your thoughts on what role you feel genre plays in the potential success of an artist, or do you really just think, like it sounds like, creativity and personality sort of trumps all?
Yeah, to the latter, I think creativity definitely trumps, and then if the content is good, and I think that's the other thing, is it's not only about the song, it's about the content that people are using with that song, and trends just happen. I don't know how they start. I really love the TikTok community for being so creative and just finding all of these random songs, sometimes popular songs, and just doing very interesting things with them. Right now, I'm seeing a trend with Summer Walker, "Girls Need Love," which huge R&B hit. Been popular for a while, but people are doing this like weird, like body sort of like morphing like thing to it, and it's just like super crazy. And like listening to this amazing R&B song, you would never think that the content on TikTok would be like super weird and niche, but that's a trend in itself, and it's blowing up. So specific to genre, I think the landscape is just so vast. Like earlier to Abby's point of niche communities on TikTok, that is huge and ever present. There is a stage and an audience who will consume your style of music or content somewhere in the world, which is great. And I think again, to my earlier point of like pairing the music with the content, genres, definitely don't hold any rules with that. So I'm constantly seeing, in the vlog DIY sort of videos, a lot of people are looking for, electronic, tropical, housey kind of tracks where they can really like, it's very subtle in the background, but like once you watch their video, it just like gets you going, and you can imagine like a picture as like sunny day and someone traveling or showing you like a secret spot, watering hole that they found during COVID. But then I've seen trends from an obscure Russian band who's making like weird 80s psych music.
Okay.
And that's turning into like a crazy creative effects trend where people are zooming in and doing like all this like weird cuts and transitions, and it's just like perfectly cued to the music. Or I'm seeing like ambient music as well, being scored to, like meditation videos, and a lot of people that are doing like workout style videos, and like before and afters. So again, I think like the genre rules just like really don't apply on TikTok. And traditionally, I think a lot of people think like I need to do hip hop, or I need to have like electronic or something that's just going to create a dance. And while dance and lip sync are on the platform, there's so much more content, and there's so many different avenues for artists to find success with pairing their music, whether it's in the food lane or the vlog or relationship or comedy, or pets or children. Like it just runs the gamut. Again, for me, my For You feed is like all cooking, because I use TikTok as like my new recipe book. So I just search chicken thighs, and like that's what I'm cooking for dinner. But like I've discovered music through that too, because I'm like, oh, I love the chicken, but what's the song behind it? And then going and searching that artist discovery process. So I think there's so many different ways for you to connect your music to content on TikTok.
Yes, awesome. Tons of great points in there, namely chicken thighs, if you eat meat, underrated to cook with. But, you made a point, not just to sort of promote TuneCore here, as we do, as we struck a partnership last year and started helping artists deliver their music to TikTok. We now also allow them to select the exact portion of the song that they want to be included when they distribute. But I think, an underlying theme of what you're talking about, Brandon, is just how cool it is that users essentially get to act as music director, as, a music supervisor rather, and sort of like score their own daily lives with your music. And I think that can't really be overstated enough. I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask Abby a little bit more about the brand and artist world, and just, talk about on a newer platform, what sort of challenges you feel that brands and artists are both face on TikTok from your perspective, but also conversely, where you see new opportunities that are still being uncovered.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the biggest, issue or common mistake is approaching TikTok in an Instagram-y way, or in a YouTube-y way, or in a way that prior to launching an Instagram account, you make 20 posts, your grid is beautiful, everything is captioned, hashtag you're ready. You can't prep like that on TikTok. You just kind of launch into it. And I think that's the beauty of it. And it's what has the most powerful effect. And I always like to think back about like a year and a half ago, if someone asked you about TikTok, the word that would come up was cringe. Cringe. It's so awkward. It's so uncomfortable. It's really just the realness in it. And we've gone long beyond cringe, but it is still in its bloodline. So all of the content that you've ever like hesitated on when you go to your stories on Instagram and you're like, am I dorky? Is this stupid? That's the TikTok content that just rocks it. So as long as you come in with this new open mindset and really expand your own personal boundaries and let people into places you may never have let them in before, you really will thrive on here. But in the same breath, the beauty of that, and I like that Adila said she didn't bring her audience over, is these are fresh faces. These people don't know you. So that's cool because you can be your own person, but also start your intro again. Start way at the beginning and tell us who you are and your story. You have this new platform to do all of the things you might have done a few years ago because you have so many fresh eyes on your content. So the opportunities are there. You just got to jump in and make sure that you're willing and really just open on the platform, because they'll call your bluff if you aren't.
Yeah, 100%. Adila, you sort of talked about experimentation and trying to figure out what worked for you and what didn't. I thought that was, super interesting. And, I hope artists who are tuning in are listening to that, because if you're feeling like there's some sort of roadblock or some mental block getting you onto TikTok, feeling uncomfortable about it, I really think what Adila said was really perfect. But in terms of, and again, my misconception that you brought your fans over there, how do you feel that TikTok has served as a platform, both for discovery among new fans, now that you're on there, engagement with current fans, and have you seen, an increase in streams and followers elsewhere as a result?
So once I figured out that I hadn't taken my fan base over there and I was just gaining a brand new fan base, I was super excited about it. And it's crazy because every day that I grow on TikTok, I'm growing on Instagram. And I'm actually growing on Instagram more than I ever have. Because for me, Instagram felt very static. And another benefit is I'm doing these fun videos on TikTok and I'm just posting them on Instagram and I'm posting them on Twitter and I'm posting them on Facebook, and people absolutely love it. So I'm in there, I'm having fun. Some of my videos are simple, some are, a little more complicated, but all the other social media platforms are really responding to the, content that I'm building for TikTok. So, that's a plus. And this, I guess, is like a Brandon secret, but I feel like as an independent artist, if you get a song to go viral on TikTok, it could be there for the next 6 years going viral. I mean, I see songs on there and I'm like, it's been a year and it's still been on TikTok. Like, this is incredible. Songs from the 90s. Or 80s that are trending and everyone's listening and using it. So, those are the benefits for independent artists, I feel.
It speaks exactly what Abby just said, where it's like you get that refresh, right? Like now you might have an artist from 2003, totally blowing up with, because some kids just didn't hear that song, didn't get to it. There's such a overwhelming amount of music available at everyone's fingertips, right? So I think that's a really strong point. And I guess I'll pose this one to everyone because I think we'll probably have some different perspectives and answers. But something we talk a lot about at TuneCore, and even just our last TuneCore live session was really all about release planning. I can't sort of overstate the importance of planning and making sure that your release campaign is cohesive and fluid and ready to go when you are. But let's talk about how we think TikTok fits in with the traditional new release campaign, namely albums, singles, but also just in comparison to other social channels. I guess as an artist, Adila, we can start with you.
So it's incredible because TikTok has made such a huge impact on me that now, I'm getting ready to release a single and my mind is, how do I release it? How do I roll it out on this platform? Because I think this platform happens to be so powerful. So, I'm still trying to navigate that as an independent artist myself. Like, how do I do this? So maybe Brandon and Abby have some really good tips even for me.
Brandon?
Yeah, sure. So I think, and Adila, like your content is already so good and great, and you're really nailing down the TikTok voice and creativity. So when you're releasing music, something that I've seen really well is to like really lean into the audience and bring them along with it. So whether you have already released a track that might be going viral on TikTok and you're going back to make the connection of like, hey, I'm the artist that created this song. So that can be you, playing that clip and then cutting to you like writing and being in the studio and really like making, and what Kevin, you said, like, this is your chance to make a new introduction. You can do that. Or if you're at the start, sometimes you can, tease to your fans, hey, I'm releasing something next week. What do you think? This is how it's sounding. Then you can lead into, you releasing that audio on TikTok and having other people duet with it and sing along and give feedback. I think that's been really creative. I've seen artists from the independent side do that, and even artists like a Charlie Pluth is like, hey, I'm in the studio, I want to do a duet with some people, and then a couple weeks later that record is released on DSPs. And Jason Derulo is doing the same thing too, with like reaching out to other TikTok creators and then doing the remix and releasing on DSPs. So I think just having that lead up on TikTok before you go wide on other platforms is really important. And then once the TikTok audience hears that final version, they've been along with you for the whole ride. They've heard the acoustic, they saw you mix and mastering it, and now it's release day. They want to go support on DSPs, and they want to Shazam, and they want to tell all their friends. So I think just bringing your fans along with you will go a long way in the release planning process.
Yeah, and that's great insight again from someone who works at Cobalt and AWOL, at different points. That's super important. And Abby, have you seen this play out for the artists you were either following or working with in the past in any relation to brands? Have you seen how this has been able to fit into new releases?
Yeah, so like what Brandon was saying, I would put TikTok at the very beginning of your release timeline. Like, let this be the place where that anticipation just starts to build. It's a really curious platform. And just as you want to go viral with your song, people want to make videos that go viral too. So they want to be on top of the newest trend and they want to be in on the secrets as well. So, we found even with brand campaigns, this is an awesome place to launch a product because you get all of this leeway to make it the coolest thing until the launch and really build up, the ultimate campaign. Because when you do finally drop the hit or drop the product, everyone's already in on it and they can't wait to finally get their hands on it or get their ears, listening to it. So as long as, recognize that you don't have to like plan it out too much, but as you actually create, as you get in the studio, as you sketch your lyrics out, get that on the app, and it'll really, just like Brandon said, bring people along with you. So that destination is just that much big of an impact.
Yeah, it's you can really turn it into a journey that people can jump in on. I think that's hugely important. And Abby, I'll stick with you because I think, as we've been talking here and I introduced you and you sort of talked about collab, this is a question that probably comes up for a lot of artists in terms of, how these sort of campaigns and brand partnerships work. So I wanted to ask you just, for the artists out there who are interested in those sort of campaigns and brand partnerships that you've helped build and manage, what should they be thinking about in terms of, appealing to like a collab agency, if you will?
Yeah. So get a head start. There's no time that's too soon to start growing that audience. Of course, following matters a little bit just as far as the numbers go and everything, but just know that like over at Collab, we're really busy. Like these brands are coming in left and right. They want in. They want to be cool. They want to be on this platform. And we want to involve as many creators as possible. And it's my job really to make that perfect match between creators and everything. But what has been so fun with these campaigns is we get to cross wires all the time. So let's say we're doing a skincare campaign. Instead of just going for skincare people who talk about their routines all the time, we have a pottery person and a person who rollerblades and a dancer, and their audience is so engaged with what they do and love the way that they do it that when they bring a product to the table or when they introduce something, what toothpaste they use, everyone's really into it. So we get to cross and bring in all of these people. So I would say to appeal to brands and to really stand out is show us that you're multifaceted. Like it's awesome if you find your niche and everybody loves when you do that one thing or tell that one joke. But in the middle of all of that, show us what else you do and what your day looks like, because that helps the brand get in your head and understand how their product or whatever it is can really fit into your feed. So just vary your content. Don't feel like you have to stick to a railroad of anything and just keep, expanding on it.
Yeah, that's huge. And I mean, it's a super interesting point, like you said, about brands really wanting to get in on this. I think that's a tale as old as time, right? A new platform spikes in popularity, and here we are. So independent artists out there who are listening, definitely, or watching along, definitely keep that stuff in mind, because this is pretty direct advice. I wanted to talk a little bit more. Adila, you've done a great job at sort of talking about your experiences on TikTok. And I was hoping maybe if you had like really one piece of advice that you wanted to give to up and coming artists, specifically as it pertains to those who might feel a little overwhelmed when developing their own TikTok strategies. You've talked a little bit about it, but if you had just some sort of actionable advice for getting started developing that TikTok strategies, where would you go first?
So I think like just the advice I give my fellow artist friends, because, they think I'm the expert and I'm like, I'm nowhere near that. But what I tell them is like, spend a couple days just scrolling through the app. Just scroll, if you like something or you're like, you know what, I can kind of do that, favorite it. Do not put pressure on yourself. And after a couple days, just do one video. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's still just social media. So it should be fun. You shouldn't have all this pressure on you, and you start with one video and then the next day do another video. And before you know it, it's just going to start becoming really easy and it'll be like second nature. So like, try not to stress it. That's the first thing. It should be fun.
That's really solid advice.
thinking.
Yeah, and I share that too. Sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say I share that too with all my label partners and artists that I talk to. First, starting out, spend time on the app, go through the For You page. There's a pro tip for the content that you don't like. If you press and hold, you can press not interested, and that will further curate your For You page and say, I don't like that, don't show me that. So then over time, you're really seeing the content that really resonates with you, and you'll start getting inspired to start creating. I myself, I'm not an artist, so I don't have to post, but you get the bug. Like you want to lean in, you want to participate in the trends. I learned how to do the renegade over quarantine, so you can start with dance, but like for me, I'm just all about cooking again. So like any cool recipe that I see, I favorite it, I want to make it. And yeah, just like take the pressure off and just have fun on the platform. That's honestly what it is here to do. Our mission statement is to inspire joy and creativity with our users. And so really lean into that ethos, when you're creating. I love that Adila said it is social media. So we just want to have fun. Like, don't let it be a soul crushing experience of like, how do I create the perfect TikTok video? What we've also said is just like, the more authentic, the more raw and weird and gritty, like that's what really connects with the TikTok audience. It's not Instagram where it's the perfected self and this curated, feed. Even like my stories, it's like a lot more curated than the content that I would put on my TikTok. So yeah, just have fun with it.
Well, that's actually a great segue into a question I had for you, which was, as someone on the TikTok side, what are some of your favorite, like less than traditional methods, if you will, of fan engagement that you've seen artists trying out on TikTok? Because before we wrap up, I'm definitely going to sort of talk a little bit more about the engagement side. But again, like I said, if there's any sort of like less than traditional methods you've seen, shout them out.
Yeah. So I really like sequential videos and like a part one, part two sort of series. We've seen a lot of trends in like the DIY space and like fashion space that are really, and this increases that loop and watch time as you see the first video and like, oh, I need to see part two. Like I want to see the rest of this person's house, or I want to see the rest of the products on Amazon that I need to get. So I think applying that strategy to artists is really helpful. So whether it be this is part one of the songwriting, and then part two is the mixer and mastering, and then part three is release day, having that cadence with your fans really works. I also love to see for like the producers and the songwriters and musicians to have fun and like do like the duet sort of call and response. I see a kid on my For You page all the time who's like, hey, like this is a new this is a guitar chord that I made, and like he'll put up like the time signature and like the music notes, and he'll be like, I want to see what you can do to create with this song. And then he'll get a bunch of producers and singers and all these people like that are reinterpreting his little guitar lick. And I haven't seen him release that music yet, but if he does, I think he could be extremely successful. And it's just a great way to increase that engagement, increase the traffic going to his page. Once people see that on their For You page and they favorite it and they like it, or they keep watching again and again so they can master that guitar lick or sing along, that's what increases his engagement. Once artists jump onto the trend, now you have, Abby, I'm sure you've seen these videos too, where it's like the long sort of like telephone game of duet where people are just like adding on to the train and then tagging their next friend to do it. Things like that really work really well. And I've been put on to a lot of independent artists because they were just one of the artists that were like in this telephone game of a trend. And I'm like, oh, who is that? Or, oh, wow, like that's a really good cover or remix. Like I need to dive in. And then once that's where the artist discovery process starts. And then I'm waiting for that artist to release their song on DSPs, because I'm fully invested in them and I want to see them really blossom and be along for their career journey. So I think some of those things are really important to crack through.
That's cool, and it's like it's a really actually perfect sort of segue again into the question I had for everyone. And let's start with Abby on this one. And it really it comes down to this sort of engagement versus also getting people to share your music, which you Brandon touched on very well with the kid who's making music and having other people do interpretations of it. But as far as artists who have their songs available to use on TikTok and they're trying to get more people to do the same. Abby, how do you think artists should be differentiating when creating content to entertain and engage fans versus making the effort to get those fans to share their songs on TikTok and their own videos?
Yeah, those two things go hand in hand. They really do. I have two good examples for this one. Artist Curtis Waters, he went with a very direct approach where he really just posted his song again and again and again and said, this is my song. I'm Curtis. I live in North Carolina. I'm so cool. You'll love this song. Use this audio. And I first saw it and I'm like, okay, that's an interesting method. And he wouldn't stop. So it just completely took off. And now he has one of the top songs. It's called Stunnin' on TikTok, and it's on the top charts in general. And he just went with a really direct method that said, this is the person behind the song that you're hearing, and this is what I look like, and these are my friends, and this is what it's like, and you want to use my audio. So he went super direct, which is always a method. And then there's somebody like Audrey Mika, who was a YouTube personality and took that, she's so cool, her style, her bedroom, everything is great to watch. So she just started posting about herself. So when it did come time for her to drop a song, I think it's called Why You Gotta Be Like That, everyone heard the song, fell in love with it, but then also had this moment of, wait, this is that TikTok girl? That TikTok girl makes music? And then would use her song a million times more because we already know her. So both of those things, really, the common denominator is just like, show yourself, get your personality out there first, and let your music come as this like awesome added bonus.
Yeah, Adila, is that something that sort of goes through your mind when you're posting, whether it's a new song, whether it's an old song, or something you just are experimenting with and might work for this sort of thing? Are you actively trying to get your followers to reuse your music in their videos?
I feel like, just kind of still being new to the platform, what works is to not shove your music in people's faces and just make interesting, content and fun content. And then I drop one of my records, behind it. And sometimes I don't use my music because, there's another song that would fit better. And like Abby said, like I want people to get to know me. And this platform allows me to be able to do that. So I feel like it's more organic.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously we'd never promote anyone over promoting themselves, but I think, if you're jumping on a platform, it is no matter what, getting comfortable and then learning how to incorporate that balance of engaging content versus promotional content, which is, I feel like, is something we've been talking about since, MySpace basically. But Brandon, did you have any final thoughts on, in terms of just, artists exploring how to get people to sort of use their songs? Any examples you've seen before we start taking questions from the crowd on Facebook?
Yeah, I love when, again, it's like being a part of the artist journey, and having that seat with them. So I love when artists, they'll utilize like the green screen effect and they'll show their song on Spotify and be like, hey guys, like this is if it's taking off on TikTok, they're really driving their fans to go to Spotify. Or they're like, hey guys, I just got a playlist ad on the Pollen playlist. Like, this is really exciting. Thank you guys so much. It'd be great if you can go to Spotify and like drive the numbers up there. And then they're posting the response videos of their fans just doing that, or the DMs that they're getting on Instagram and being like, oh shit, like my favorite artist idol of all time, like just DM me to be like, my song is dope. And so it's just like that authenticity of the journey. I love Abby's example of like what Curtis Waters did with Stun, and him just making a PSA of like why you should use his song. But that really worked because like you saw the man behind the song, you connected it, you see that it's a real person with a personality. Once you dive into his channel, similar to Adila, you see their personality, you see that they're just having fun and they're a normal person and they're not just like force feeding the record down the throat. And if they are, it's like in a fun, authentic way where it's not just like an overcommitment and barrage. So people are willing to be a part and create content. And then once something goes, I think with Curtis, it was like the roller skating videos. And once that became a trend, that's what really started. But with him, like, you know, I'm still seeing his content. He's remaining authentic. He's still just like that kid from around the block, that bedroom artist on TikTok who's just having fun and engaging with his fans. And I think that's what's really important.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're coming up to just a little bit over 10 minutes left. So I wanted to take a look at some of the questions we got coming in Facebook. I think I have some really cool ones that are I can direct to every one of our panelists in terms of their specialty. So Abby, Claude Q asked, does it make sense to contact TikTok influencers to share your music in their content?
It does make sense. I would try to strategize, so it's not like you can build a relationship with them first, I think is the main goal here. So start to engage with their content. So when you reach out to them, be like, I love this one video that you did and I make music. If you like it, post with it, really casual stuff. Because like I said earlier, like everyone also wants to go viral. So if you drop them a note that just says, I think I have it, I think I have the hit, and I'd love for you to be one of the first people on the track. Just things like that could totally play to your direction. It's a lot of reach out, it's a lot of legwork, but that is how a lot of these things do get started. So definitely reach out to them, slide in their DMs, like their stuff, give them a follow, and build a relationship with them.
Avoid writing in all caps. Kate C and Eric M both had a similar question, and I wanted to field it to Adelia, specifically about monetization and followers. Where do you hope your followers will go in terms of off the platform? And have you seen a correlation between your TikTok and streaming conversions, and are listeners Shazamming it or doing searches on the streaming platforms? Is that something you've noticed?
So yes, my Shazam has gone up, and I am noticing that like when I go to my song on the actual platform, like the videos, like the amount of times people are using it is definitely growing. And for me, I like to send my TikTok followers primarily to my YouTube. I think that's an important space to send them to. So like when I can, that's where I send them. But like naturally, they've just been also going over to Instagram. And I think that's because TikTok has the little box where you can link your actual Instagram, and then you can put your YouTube or your website or whatever in your bio. So it makes it really convenient. And I just want to say something with what Abby was saying. When I first got on the platform, I noticed that people on TikTok are the nicest people on planet Earth. I would just DM them and say, hey, I'm new to this. Can you give me any tips or can you help me out? And these are just random people. And they would say, sure, send me a voice note of like a ton of tips. Like, hey, so I saw your stuff and this is what you need to do. And this is how you need to do it. It was shocking and amazing.
That's awesome. I mean, it's cool that you have a whole audience of people, a user base of people who want to be leaned on for advice. I mean, I think that's pretty flattering. One question I had from Jonas A. I'll take this one because it's TuneCore related. Jonas asked, how do artists get multiple clips of their songs on TikTok through TuneCore instead of just the first minute of their song? I did announce at the beginning, this is a relatively new feature. We put out some articles about it, but basically, Jonas, there's now a song selector option when you're distributing your tracks. So you can actually go back and request that, but moving forward, when you are distributing songs, you can pick the exact loop that you want. So that's a new feature that came out of high demand. So we were excited to announce it. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through some of these real quick. I have one for Brandon. Do you think redoing MacArthur asks, is redoing other TikTok users' content ideas a good idea to create initial buzz on the app? Is imitation the best form of flattery?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's part of the dialogue of repurposing meme content. If you are directly doing a duet, which will like feature that person's video and then you do your interpretation over it, whether that's through like lip sync or you adding another cover or something, it's definitely within the ethos of the app to repurpose, to be inspired, to take the meme or comedic skit to the next level. I think something that does go a long way is providing credit and attribution, you know, to that creator in which you are inspired from, especially if they have a huge reach, you know, they're more apt to reposting and resharing and just keeping it going. So I think if you do take anything, if you are inspired, just give credit as much as possible. And I think you'll see the same, you know, on your end, if people are inspired to use your song and you were the first, or one of your creators, let's say Adila is the first person to like ever use your song and to like start this trend, which becomes the next Old Town Road. Having that relationship between, you know, artists and that first creator, and like Adila said, they're so nice. Like you sending the DM and being like, "Yo, thank you. This is blowing up," or "Oh my God, like I thank you so much for using it. I would love to collaborate with you in some way in the future. How can I help you?" Abby touched to it too. It's like, you know, brands, other creators, they're all looking for amazing music. They're all looking to go viral as well. So the relationship between artist, brand, and artist and creator is really important. They both need each other to really succeed on the platform. So taking that approach and being like, okay, I'm a musician. How can I really partner with the creator community and add, you know, my personality, add my vibe, my music to what's going on TikTok. So let me reach out to the food people. Let me reach out to the beauty people. Let me reach out to all these different categories within TikTok and have great organic relationships. Because again, everybody's looking for music. So doing it in the most like authentic way, I think will completely go a long way. And you'll be surprised of how far that would really get you. It's not as transactional as I'm looking for 5 dance influencers to make the next trend. It's like I want to you know, embed myself within this creative community because I'm a part of it. I provide music, but I'm acknowledging all the other creators and the amazing things that they do, from the educators, from the dancers, to the recipe people, to the beauty people. It's all one home. So I think like being a true member and citizen of it, it goes a long way.
Yeah, it's definitely, it fosters that communal idea of sharing and crediting. I have a couple I think that everyone can sort of weigh in. Brandon, I guess because you were just answering, I'll start with you. Want to give the credit to the right question asked. Tiago asked, "What is a very good posting frequency?"
Posting frequency, it ranges. We see like 3 to 5 times a week is like really the sweet spot. But you know, if you're just getting your feet wet onto the platform, don't think that
Sure.
oh, I need to be posting 3 times. Start out slow, get comfortable, and as Adila said, like once you get in it, it'll become second nature. Similar to how it's so easy to create an Instagram and it's so easy to fire off a tweet, TikTok will just become commonplace and you'll be able to shoot content very easily once you're like deeply ingrained. But yeah, start off slow, and then I think yeah, like 3 to 5 times a week is fine.
Cool. And this one is for everyone as well. I'll start with you, Abby. What's most important? Julie K wants to know the amount of likes, the amount of views, or the amount of followers?
Let's see. I think since we're really focused on getting your content on the For You page, the things that put you there are what's important. So I would say shares are really big because then, you know, friends are sharing with friends and you get on new For You pages. But I don't know, it really always varies. I'm telling you, it's a big mystery. It's always switching up. I would just aim to communicate and engage and get inside of your own comments and, you know, respond to people and use the in-app features to just make that engagement actually mean something and be a little bit more lasting. But as far as, you know, what I still think matters most is getting those loops. So I would aim for that for now.
Adila, what do you think? I mean, and I'm curious as to, you know, how you view this versus when you first joined Instagram or first joined Twitter, you know, likes, views, or follows.
I mean, I guess as an artist, I want to say follows because that just means I have a bigger fan base to drop new music to. But like I said, I really try not to overthink it. You know, I have some videos that have like 100,000 plays or 200,000 plays, and I have some that have 200. I mean, you know, it's a fun platform. And
it can't all be hits.
You're right. They can't all be hits.
Okay, that's cool. Brandon, do you have any final thoughts on the importance? Are we overestimating the importance of any of it? Can we demystify any of that?
Yeah, I think they're all important, you know, for different reasons. Obviously, like follower growth, the higher following, the more people that you have to blast out. You know, once you have the for you feed, but then you also have your friends feed, and it's really easy to go between the two. So having that increased follower count, you're exposing your content to more people that are like your true friends. But yeah, it's a combination of things with the goal for, you know, to get into the for you page. That is a combination of likes, comments, shares, views, and I myself don't know the secret sauce of the algorithm, but those are the things that it recognizes. And yeah, I think you know, not sweating, you know, if every video doesn't do well. I love that Adila is like taking that approach, and I see it too on the partner side of like, hey, this one video did crazy, but this one video didn't. Like, what's wrong? What's going on? Is my content strategy? It's like, just try again. You know, like it doesn't mean that's not the end of the world. You can still be more consistently growing your follower count, and not having every video go crazy in numbers. So, and to Abby's point, I think making the engagement stick is also really important and something that is often overlooked, of going and re-commenting and shouting at your fans in a personal DM or duetting their content, and just like making that like solid relationship, I think is a easy step to continue to grow your channel.
Yeah, and I think what's been really incredible about this conversation is for anyone who joined and really had a lot of questions about the platform itself, or have been on it for a while and feel like they've been struggling. I feel like the consistent theme throughout all of these answers from three, I think, you know, pretty unique perspectives on you know, success on the app and engagement on the app is that there's no real hard answers for some of this stuff, and it encourages experimentation, encourages you know, being able to get out there and find new ways to connect with fans and find ways to totally connect with new fans altogether. And that's pretty much all the time we have for questions, but I want to say thanks to everyone in the Facebook thread who is contributing questions, because I think they were super important and gave us a chance to talk about some of the stuff we didn't cover. I want to obviously thank you to my guests, Abby, Brandon, and Adila, for joining me. You know, this was really fun. I think, you know, it's pretty helpful for a lot of folks. We are going to be able to put this up as a stream on our YouTube channel and as well on our blog. We'll be sure to touch on some of the high-level points that we talked about here. And we'll also be sharing our brand new TuneCore TikTok for Musicians 101 survival guide, written with the help of our friends at TikTok, sort of acting as an evergreen guide to get you started and get you feeling comfortable. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day and gets out there and starts recording.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.